Okay, welcome to the first installment of my podcast. I'm grown now. What? My name is Tyree Elaine. Just a little bit about me. I'm 33. I'm born right here in Los Angeles, South LA. I'm currently unmarried. I don't have any children yet. I have been doing stand up for about a little over 11 years now. I've written on a couple of TV shows, The Conners, and season 3 of The Last OG. Most recently, I wrote, directed, and starred in a web series called Dirty 30s. I'm incredibly proud of. It is basically a web series that reflects on the wake up call I kind of had as I entered my 30s. Although that particular project is a comedy, it caused me to question certain emotions I'd been having for years that I just couldn't ignore anymore. For a really long time, I thought that I was the only one going through these particular things. But I realized after talking to my peers that what I was experiencing was way more common than I thought. And it's pretty unfortunate because it's pretty negative. So I decided to do a podcast on various subjects. The heaviest of the subjects being childhood trauma and family toxicity. Sometimes, we think that because we were raised a certain way, that means that it was the right way. If we turned out, responsible citizens that, we're good, but it's like if you're not okay, then you're not okay. And it's okay to get help, from somewhere or to figure out, you know what I mean, what the problem is. I know a lot of my peers sometimes it's a mindset of, well, I don't have time. And I don't have time to like sit and figure out if something's wrong with me. And I would like to say you don't not have time. Because you kind of have to give yourself, it's like working, 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 and then not taking any time to rest. Your body is going to eventually get sick. You'll catch a cold or something, and then you're forced to be in a position of rest. It's kind of the same thing with your emotions. Like if you just are not okay and you're going, 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 eventually something is going to happen. It could be a myriad of things: a nervous breakdown, or a panic attack, or going off on somebody in drive through because they taking too long. It can be anything. So I'm very, very adamant, and I'm really pushing for, especially now, mental health, and just kind of like doing self checkups, with yourself. So I think that this conversation is way past due. The specifically with family, the relationship with family is where you learn how you should be treated in life by others. Like that, it's your first line of action for, okay, this is how I'm supposed to be treated. This is what normal is. For example, my mom and several of my friends, and even in relationships, their mothers have never apologized to them for things that they know were wrong. Instead, I know for me, I'll take me. My mom has never like said I'm sorry for anything, right? Instead, she would buy me something. For example, if she promised to do something and didn't do it, the next morning I remember waking up and it would be like a toy or some food or some candy or something on my dresser. Well, it's not a shocker that I grew up and chose a dude that I was with for 10 years who, instead of, telling me the truth about something, he would buy me something. Or if we were arguing, he would leave and then come back with crab legs or whatever. And I thought that that was normal because that is what I learned early on. Another example, like my mom, I remember she asked, she was seeing this guy, and I liked the guy a lot, but she was seeing him for a long time, and she asked me how I would feel if they got married. And I had to be about like maybe 9 or 10, and I remember telling her like, "Well, I like him, but I don't really know if I want you to get married. I think I would be sad." And her response was, "Well, that's selfish of you." So then I grew up not being able to express myself because, or not feeling comfortable expressing myself because I was so worried about coming off selfish or coming off mean or hurting somebody's feelings. So then I suffered because I learned then, and, on, that other people's feelings mattered over mine. Right. Yeah. So I don't think we realize like how much, how much of the way we were raised has to do with why we do and don't do certain things as adults. Here's my current situation. So I've been estranged from my mom and the majority of the family that I grew up with for about a year now. The situation with my dad is like he was around until I was about 7 or 8, and then I vaguely remember my mom just putting him out, and then that was just the end of that. We don't have a relationship at all, but and I was pretty much used to that. But this situation with my mom and I have two aunts and two cousins that I don't speak to as well. That's pretty new, and I'm still getting used to it. I think I'm handling it pretty well, considering. But I am the youngest adult in this on my mom's side of the family, and since I can remember, if I wanted to express something one of them did that I didn't like, they called me stupid or sensitive or got yelled at or cut off while I was speaking, so on and so forth. And it was really hard. It was a really, really hard and confusing time because this, this is my family and I'm trying to like let them know that I'm hurting. And it was more so confusing because I'm like, you love me, but I can't be myself. If that makes any sense. Like you love me. I definitely felt like they loved me, but never in the entire relationship of me and my family, never did I ever feel respected ever in any regard. And this is why we can't communicate. I'm at the age now where if you can't communicate to me respectfully, then you don't get to talk to me. I don't give a fuck who you are. So I feel like the least people can do is respect each other just as human beings, adults, whatever. I have notes, so I'm kind of like still trying to read them and stuff. Like I said, that was a very difficult time that I don't have to go through no more because we don't talk no more. So that's where we are now. I felt like my opinion or my emotion was disregarded and dismissed, and now, you know, I just have the time to kind of sit and reflect on just my entire upbringing and how I wouldn't be like there were certain things that were like instilled in me as a kid that I don't necessarily want instilled in me as an adult. So for example, I remember my mom was in town and we went to go visit my aunt. My aunt is older, excuse me. She's about 70, and she as soon as we get in the house, my aunt says, "Why why don't you ever call? Like why don't you never call me?" And I didn't mean this in a smart mouth way, but it was a real question of, "Well, do you have my number?" Because she's an older woman. I don't know if she has my cell phone number, but one thing is for sure, I am much busier than she is most likely. So, my mindset in that question was if you want to know why I don't call, during those times that you think about me, you're more than welcome to call me. You know what I mean? That's where I came from. Now, when I asked that, my mom, I literally said, "Well, Auntie, do you have my number?" My mom, "That's not the point. That's not. She don't get it. She don't get it." I'm like 29. I might have been 30 at this point. So this is the relationship that I was like trying to save, but I had just been suppressing negative feeling after negative feeling for years and years and years. So, fast forward to the relationship I'm in now, right? When me and this guy first started dating, I remember yelling kind of sort of him, like, "Why don't you call me after work? After you get off work? Why come you don't call me on your lunch break?" And he said to me, "Why not just say you miss me?" And I was like, the thought never occurred to me to say that because that's where all this is coming from. But literally, the thought never occurred to me to handle it that way. I had only been modeled yelling and, being all whoop de whoop to get my point across. So I didn't know any better, literally. And after let me stop right here for a second. When he said, "Why don't you just say you miss me?" I'm going to be honest, a feeling of weakness came. Like, no, I can't say that I miss you because what if you don't miss me? Or, what if you say something in return that I don't want to hear? So I need to like yell or be more aggressive just in case, you know what I mean? Like, I'm too vulnerable or whatever. I remember that being the feeling. And then I got over it because I just was tired of fucking yelling to try to get my point across. Um, yeah, so. When I was growing up, I definitely loved my family. I don't want to get that, confused. I loved my family, but I felt like they loved me, but I never felt like they liked me. I felt like they didn't respect me and I felt like they didn't like me for me. I felt like I had to be a certain way, like be like them in order to be accepted. Never just felt like I could be like comfortable or myself. Never felt comfortable. Never felt comfortable. When I was a kid, yes, because we were all kids. Like my two cousins that were like the closest things I had to sisters. They are sisters, but I felt like they were my sisters too. When I would go over there, they lived, right around the corner and stuff. So when we were kids growing up, it would be fun, whatever. But then when we got older, oh my God, I don't know what the fuck happened, honestly. But I definitely felt like I had to put on or I had to be on my P's and Q's because I would still get yelled at. I'm the youngest, whatever. Even though I'm grown, I'm still the youngest or whatever, the baby. So here's my story. I'll just start off on why me and my family don't speak as of now. And I'll just say this. As far as my mom was concerned, I grew up thinking whatever she said and did was law. I didn't necessarily, this is gonna sound really bad, but it's honestly how I felt. I never really admired my mom, but I respected her because she's responsible. She got a job, she goes to work, she pays her bills, she I go to school, I'm clean, whatever. But just as a person, I felt like she wasn't enjoying herself. Like I never very rarely did we have fun together. I can count and remember vividly the times that, we caught the train to San Diego to go to the zoo, or we went to Knott's or Universal or something. Like those were very, very fun times, but it was way more bad times than good. Just to be honest. Now, from her point of view, that might not be, the case, but I know how I felt. Never comfortable having a conversation because I felt like my opinion would be like, that's stupid, or why would you think that, or whatever. But I can't sit on these feelings any longer, and we're not in a place to have a conversation, and I don't think we ever will. So here's my story. Okay. So around last year, November, I was working my first TV job on the Connors, which is the Roseanne spinoff. Now, I was the only black person in this room. I've never, ever, ever in my life been the only black person, and I mean person of color. There's no Asian, no Hispanic, no anybody else. Everybody else is white. I've never experienced that ever. The only other time I can really think about it is like on a plane to San Antonio for like 2 hours. But and the other black person was that was on the plane was in first class, but that's it. So it took some adjusting. That in and of itself, that took some adjusting. I think I adjusted well, but I definitely had to adjust during this time. During the time that I was working there, my mother had moved back here from Atlanta. She was living in Atlanta, and she moved back here around the time I got that job. So during that time, she back out here. She want to hang out, and I didn't necessarily I didn't really want to hang out, but she had taught me to do certain things so that I didn't have to hear nobody mouth, right? So that is why I would and I mean just like with anything, like just do it so you don't have to hear nobody mouth. Just do it so you don't have to hear nobody mouth. And it wouldn't be things that I just wanted to do. So she would come in town. I definitely wanted to see her, but I wanted to finish my work. This was even though it wasn't the most even though the situation on the Connors wasn't the most ideal just because of the racial makeup or whatever, I still loved what I did, and I learned that is the best place I could have ever learned everything that I learned for writing and so on and so forth. So I wanted to like kind of finish working and then hang out with her, but I still made it, made it down there, not down there. It was like maybe, maybe about 15 miles, but I still made it down to LA from where I live up in the valley. And, we hung out a couple of times and I even invited her to my birthday party. I had a 32nd birthday party at my house. That was in the middle of November, and I was reluctant. I remember feeling reluctant to invite my mom and the rest of my family because I knew I wanted to do hood rat shit with my friends. It's my birthday, and it was a point in time at the birthday party where me and my cousins were dancing and singing, and then I said I want to sing. I had a little karaoke machine. I said I would like to sing Sugar Free. I'd rather give you my bitch. And my cousins was like, but our moms are here. And I remember thinking, I don't give a fuck. It's my birthday. We're grown people. The fuck? This is why I didn't want to do this. But who knows what I said? I've been drinking and all that other stuff. It's my birthday. But I do remember feeling like shit. This is why I didn't want to, you know what I mean? And like that's it's nothing wrong with wanting maybe to do something with your family for your birthday and then do some like hood rat cracking shit with your friends, right? So or that's just my opinion. So that was November 17th. Somewhere between somewhere between then and the end of November, which is what, 2 weeks, my mother had asked me a couple times to go see Black Klansmen, right? And I wasn't like in an incredible hurry to go see it because A, I knew I would get the screener from the guild, and B, I just didn't. I was almost done working there. My contract was almost up, and I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do after. So she kept asking, "Do you want to go see it?" I'm like, maybe not this weekend. Do you want to? Can you go see it this weekend? No, mom, not this weekend. She asked maybe about 2 or 3 times, and then at one point she texts me something to the effect of, well, if you don't wanna go, just say so, so I can stop asking. And I said, Mom, I'm like working. I have to. Don't you ain't gotta explain. Just yes or no, like that type of energy. During that time, I was in the middle of drafting an email to another potential show, well, to my reps to try to figure out what I was doing after this show. And I literally didn't have time to go back and forth with my mom about that. I just didn't. She had called. I saw that the phone was ringing. And I was, like I said, I was in the middle of trying to draft an email properly. This is my first writer's job. I don't know what happens next, blah, blah, blah. She sends me a text after I ignore the that particular phone call, and she says, "I know you just sitting there ignoring the phone." And like when I saw that text, I felt like a little girl all over again. Like if I don't answer the phone, I'm gonna get in trouble. I am at this point 32 years old, still feeling like a kid, and I just was fucking tired. And I said, "You know what, Mom? If you don't want to ask me to go, anymore, I respect that. I literally am working." And she didn't say anything after that. I'm thinking, okay, I guess we're okay, whatever. Thanksgiving is here. Thanksgiving comes. I send all of my family a happy turkey day text within 20 minutes, and that was in the morning. Within 20 minutes, everybody but my mom has responded. Happy Thanksgiving to you too, whatever, whatever. Nothing from my mom. So, I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe she's busy. Me and my friend, we went to Universal Studios last year for Thanksgiving, and it by the time we was headed back to the house, it was like 7 p.m. and I still hadn't gotten nothing from my mom. So we waiting for the Uber, and I'm like, let me get on Facebook and just see, maybe she's just really, really busy or, whatever, who knows? Maybe she's volunteering at the church. I don't know. But let me just see. Her name don't come up on my Facebook friends list. So she has, not blocked. She has deleted her Facebook prior times before. I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe she's going through that. Maybe she just needs some time, whatever. But something said, ask your friend to pull up your mom's name and see if it pop up. Sure enough, she had blocked me on Facebook. Now, I remember feeling some type of way, but then I didn't because she was still using my Hulu. I'm like, okay, she's still using the Hulu. So apparently, she only is just mad a little bit, to block me from social media, but not like cut off the Hulu. Okay, whatever. I don't think anything of it. I don't, harass her. Christmas Eve comes. She sends me like this long text about how disrespectful I am and how I don't care about her and how I'm acting just like my father. And I'm just like, how? I ask her how. I explained to her again, like, Mom, during the time that you wanted to hang out, I was busy working this new ass job around these new people, doing something I love, but I have to adjust. Don't explain. Stop, literally, while I'm in the middle of like trying to text, don't explain, stop explaining. I don't want to hear it. I'm not taking no family or friends into the new year, and I felt like they don't care about me. She was referring to me and my uncle. I still am in communication with my uncle. That's the only like blood family member who I grew up with, who I'm still in communication with. And she says she done with us. Now I'm if I'm nothing else, I'm respectful. So if somebody chooses to do something or cut me off or whatever, I have no choice but to respect it. I'm not gonna fight. But I feel like thinking about it now, I feel like maybe she felt like because I didn't fight for her, I didn't go back and forth, that she thought that meant I didn't care. And it doesn't. It just meant that I didn't want to yell or argue about something. I wanted to communicate, a way that we could both have a compromise. You know what I mean? So, and I felt like she didn't want to understand where I was coming from. Literally by saying, stop explaining, I don't want to hear it. It's like, okay, well, I'm not gonna yell and I'm not gonna like press the issue. That was Christmas Eve. Christmas Day, she was staying with my uncle at the time. She just left on Christmas, didn't tell me or my uncle where she was going. My uncle was incredibly worried. I was like, I mean, she's grown and she's not, irresponsible. I'm sure she'll be okay. But the fact of the matter was we didn't know like where she was, and she said she was done with us. So Christmas passes, New Year's passes, January, or I believe 11th. R. Kelly thing come out. All I posted on social media on my Instagram, where she can't see anything because we're blocked, right? All I said was, can we mute ministers too? No names, no tags, no pictures. I said this because, let me just rewind. I said this because when I was 9 years old, my mother was dating this shady ass preacher dude that nobody liked. Like no, none of her friends, none of the family liked him, but nobody wanted to say nothing because they didn't want to disrespect, quote unquote, the man of God, or nobody wanted to upset my mom, whatever. Right? That's her choice. They respected it, right? But when I was 9, he walked in on me in the shower and did not leave until I screamed. Let me just explain the way the house was set up. The only people who live in this house is me, my mom, my grandfather. My grandfather, it lives in a back like room area where there is another bathroom back there, right? Um, and at the time I got in the shower, I'll never forget this night as long as I live. When I got in the shower, my mother wasn't home. It was just me and my grandfather. And he probably said, "Go get in the shower before your mom come home." I went and I got in the shower. I hear a knock and the door open. Well, who else would it be but my mom, right? So I opened the door, like excited to see my mom. I remember smiling, and then I remember seeing him, and he was smiling too and moving toward me, and literally got inches away from me. And I know I'm 9, I ain't got nothing as far as like body, but I still felt incredibly vulnerable, and I just screamed, and I screamed a scream that I'd imagine if I tried to do right now, I wouldn't be able to let out. I screamed so loud, I felt like the house was shaking, and I was scared. And he didn't close the door. He just like left. And I'm like thinking, what the fuck was that? I'm 9. I don't, I'm not equipped to handle this. But at the end of the day, I came out in my pajamas, and my mom he and the dog were just sitting up watching TV, and they're like, "Hi," and I just remember just feeling like just bad. I just remember feeling really bad about myself, like I had done something wrong. I didn't say anything for 25 years, but damn it, I said something on social media that day. I remember I told like friends and family, well, not like, I don't think I told family, but I definitely told my friends growing up. So like my best friend knew, dudes I was seeing knew, and all that other stuff. Because it was like he might as well have touched me, because I remember walking like fucked up, like hunched over, around him, and walking. You know how you like kind of walk fast past somebody? That's kind of sort of like what I would do, but just around him. My mom has dated other guys, and I never did nothing like that. Never did nothing like that with my grandfather. Never did nothing like that with my uncle. Never did nothing like that with dudes my cousins were seeing, my aunts was seeing. Only him, right? So, my mother sees that, sees what I posted, and she said, "Tyree, I just saw what you posted online." It was a text. "I just saw what you posted online. I've asked you for years if he's ever touched you or done anything to you, and you've always said no. If he did, you need to tell me so you can give me the opportunity to make it right." That I felt like that was fair. So I mustered up the energy, I'm sorry, not the energy, the courage to tell her, because this was something that I had been holding on to for 25 years. And I'm like, you know what, Tyree, just tell her exactly what happened. Tell her how you feel. You have a right to, express your story, whatever, tell her. So I told her exactly what I just said on this podcast. I told her exactly those things. And then I said, even if even if that's where it ended, he's done so many inappropriate things around me that you allowed. And just as far as like walking around a house that ain't his, that has a little girl in it in his underwear, or coming over late at night and doing, like I knew what they were doing, but I didn't see what they were doing. You know what I mean? After Bible studies and stuff like this, it just was completely inappropriate. And to do that in front of a kid who's not like I was competent. You know what I mean? I could walk, I could talk. I'm not a baby, so I understood to some degree that it probably wasn't okay. You know what I mean? But what can I say? It's my mom. Now, I told her that we're all adults now, and I respect that if she chooses to, continue to spend time with him, I have to do nothing but respect that. But at the same time, she has to respect that I don't really want anything to do with that, and that I feel like he uses God and Christianity as a guise, the same way R. Kelly uses, his bump and grind or whatever to manipulate these women. That was the point of me posting what I posted. And then the last thing I said to her in the text was, I'm learning how to love myself, and I hope you learn how to do the same. I love you, mom. And you know what? After I sent that text, I was so proud of myself. That was the first time in my life that I was proud of myself. I have done things that are worthy of being proud over, but that was the first time I ever felt like, Tyree, you you did a good job. Despite whatever, it don't matter what she says back, it don't matter if she says anything back, you mustered up the courage to tell something that had been bothering you. So, and it doesn't matter what she says back. I honestly didn't think she would say this back. Her response was, well, you didn't have to post that on social media. You did that to hurt me. You know people are gonna read that and maybe put two and two together and wonder if you're talking about him. So bottom line, he didn't actually touch you. So that must just mean that you were jealous of what we had. And she said other things like to the extent of, we don't even talk like that anymore, but you wouldn't know that because you don't answer your phone. Mind you, the last time we spoke, she told me to not explain anything, and she not taking us into the new year and da 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 da. So I'm just like, okay, I need to block her. Like as soon as I saw jealous, I made the decision that we don't need to communicate anymore. Um, the rest of the text was pretty much, like when you're ready to be an adult and talk, you know where I am. I literally didn't. She had left my uncle's, like I literally didn't know where she was, but it didn't matter because we were done talking. And that is why me and my mother don't speak now. During that time, I was still open to an apology, but I never got one, right? Maybe either the next day or about 2 days later, my cousin, my oldest cousin, she calls me and she says, your mom is at your house. Now I have the type of house that's like dumb, stupid security. You gotta have a code and a fob and get buzzed and all this other stuff. So even if I'm not expecting anybody, I'm not like gonna just like, it's a lot to go bring somebody upstairs to my house, right? So during that time, I just so happened to be in my drawers combing conditioner through my hair. There was no way I was going downstairs to let anybody upstairs. I told her that I didn't care. My cousin was like, well, what am I supposed to tell her? I said, I don't care. And she, said, oh, okay, but I just need to let you know that as a mother, because my cousin has a son, as a mother, I understand, why she would be there. And I'm like, well, unless she here to talk apology, we don't have nothing to talk about. She goes, well, I understand that. 2 days after that, a week doesn't go by before I'm done with everybody, but I'll continue. 2 days after that, my cousin texts me, your mom just told me to tell you to unblock her. She want to talk to you. Just like that. I said, no, this is no, the fuck? Well, Tyree, you should just know that, you want to be careful in the way that you're handling this because, your mom might do something to herself if you don't talk to her. I said, that's not going to work anymore. Nobody was doing all this shit for me when, I told y'all what happened as far as, her calling me jealous and shit. Why well, you only get one mom and that's your mom and that's still your mom. And I don't even know where this came from. I remember I was sitting in traffic when we were talking and I remember saying, I only have one me. And it's time for me to give a fuck about me because it is abundantly clear that nobody else is going to. Now, as far as raising me and taking care of me and making sure I have food and clothes and all that stuff, I appreciate, but that is not a blank check to mentally and emotionally abuse me. That does not give you free reign to be able to say whatever you want to say to me and think that I'm just going to continue to allow being, allow y'all to, I don't want to be the family punching bag. Like that doesn't make me disrespectful because I'm isolating myself from what I feel is toxicity. She claimed she understood, and she said, okay, I understand. Another 2 days, a week don't go by, right? Another 2 days pass. 7 in the morning, I get a text from my cousin. It's a screenshot or a copy paste of a text that says, "Tell Tyree from my mom. Tell Tyree to PayPal me $200 and make sure she does it through friends and family." And I was just, it was 7 in the morning. I'm thinking, okay, I just woke up. Am I tripping? And so my cousin's like, yeah, this is really messed up. So do you want to like PayPal her 100? And I said, I'm not giving her any money. Like, did we forget? Like, we're forgetting that an offense was made. And so she's like, well, should I just tell her that you don't have it? I said, no, don't lie. I got it. But, if you want to tell her something, tell her I said this word for word. I said, tell her I said to ask that nigga for $200 since I'm so jealous. Let's not forget that something was said that was basically she was calling a 9-year-old me jealous because he walked in on me in the shower. That was her response to something that I had been holding on to for 25 years. She don't get to talk to me no more. And for damn sure don't get to ask for money. Now, if this wasn't the situation, you know what I mean? As far as whatever, I would give my mom whatever. But you don't get to do this fuck shit and then, go, but I'm still your mom. Like, no. No, it's abusive. So, she said, well, what if she need the money? I said, I've needed $200. I've been in a situation where I really needed $200, and I have never bypassed a family member who I'm not at odds with to ask a family member who I have gravely offended for $200. I said, it's 7 in the morning. Tell her no or tell her whatever. I'm not gonna give it to her, and we'll see. Like what the deal is because I felt like it was like a ruse. I felt like she didn't really need it. I felt like she just wanted to test me. I felt like at this point I'm just being poked and prodded. Like, okay, well let me try this. Well, let me try this. But it was getting worse and worse and worse. So it gets to be 8 o'clock. Your mom just asked if you replied. I said, see. I said, I've needed $200 at 7 in the morning and got that shit by 2 p.m. And it wasn't no dilly-dallying asking around for, no. I said, if she really needed $200, she'd have asked you or my uncle or somebody who she really would have gotten it from. But I think she just wanted to see what I would do. And I'm not with that shit, right? So my other cousin, this is the cousin who I was the closest with, and now it's like we are the furthest. She calls me and she says, I can't believe you didn't give your mom the money. Like, I could see if that guy actually touched you, but he didn't touch you. So you're being erratic. I feel like, you're breaking up the family and you're scaring me because, you won't talk. That's still as a mother, you'll understand when you have kids and just on and on and on. And I'm like, this is how I'm choosing to handle like what I'm doing. She get to yelling, I get to yelling. She says, well, block me then. Fuck it, block me. So I blocked her. So now here we are, right? But yet and still, this past Thanksgiving 2019, I was posting stuff about familial trauma during the holidays and how it's okay to stay home if you're triggered or go other places, go to a Friendsgiving or, something at work or whatever, if you're triggered going back to your family. And I posted that to my social media on which they're blocked. And my cousin who, like I said, who said all of that as far as, oh, you're being erratic and you need to just get your mama the money and you ain't got but one mama and all that other shit. She told my uncle to tell me that all the stuff that I'm posting about, just familial toxicity and all that other stuff, mind you, nobody's name is being said, nobody's picture is being posted, nobody's handle is being, tagged or whatever. She told him to tell me that I'm stupid as fuck for what I'm posting, that I look like a damn fool and I'm dead wrong for saying stuff about the only family I have, and that if I want to have a conversation to pull up. Now, I don't think he understood what pull up meant, but I understood that loud and clear. And I'm like, oh, we'll never talk again. because this is I don't handle my disputes with violence or even like threats of violence or pull up or talking shit or I'm gonna beat you. I don't do that. You know what I mean? So like it's literally like a gap that's further and further letting me know that we will most likely never speak again, which is why I'm doing this podcast, because there are people who have a similar situation to mine who it don't have to go this far. Y'all can try to have a conversation. Y'all can, try to have a respectful dialogue about something that is important to you or about your feelings. It's too late for me, but other people, it don't have to be, it don't have to be so. So that's that. Let me see. The next point I wanted to make was after we separated last year, where, my cousin said, well, block me then, and I just blocked everybody. Except for my uncle who, is like communicating to me like I'm an adult, which is all I really wanted. A lot of things happened growing up that nobody can do anything about, but I can still say, when I was growing up, this kind of bothered me and this kind of hurt. A respectful response, if you gave a fuck about the relationship, is, oh man, I'm sorry, I wish I could have done better, or I didn't know it any better, or I didn't mean to hurt you. I never thought or felt like they meant to hurt me, but they definitely hurt me emotionally when I was growing up. But that's not even the response. The response is, well, you had clothes and you were fine and ain't nothing wrong with you. It's that. And who the fuck wants to communicate like that, right? So after we separated, I realized that I was really raised in just an environment full of toxicity and emotional trauma. I wasn't able to see it at the time because, they're my family and I love them. And because I felt like there's no solution, like there's nothing I could say to them to make them understand that, I felt wronged. I replayed a gang of shit that I ignored for the sake of them being family. And the biggest thing was me straight up the biggest thing I had to come to terms with was just that I didn't like being around them, especially during the holidays. I could never say that, now to them, obviously, because I said it on social media where they're not even supposed to see it. I don't know how the fuck they seeing it, but either way, it's like I said, something like that, and their response is, "You stupid as fuck. You look like a fool," and to pull up. So you see what I'm saying? Like I felt like this since my grandparents died when I was about 13 or 14. Now when I say grandparents, I mean my mother's grandmother and my mother's father. My mother's mother passed away before I was born. So my mother's grandmother, which in turn like was the closest thing I had to a maternal grandmother, she was just in charge. My nigga, like we all respected her after she died, and then like a few months later, I believe my grandfather died. It just was no fucking order. No order. It was a free for all. There was nobody in charge, nobody to respect. It was just fight after fight. I just remember every holiday almost somebody crying or somebody getting in an argument or somebody leaving. Then when I started driving, I remember I started leaving earlier and earlier, and they would make me like say, "Oh, she just sensitive," or "Tyree gonna cry. Don't say nothing because she just gonna." And I'm like, why would I want to be here? And I remember telling my mom that, and her saying, "Well, that's still your family, and if you get sick, those are gonna be the ones to take care of you, and if you pass away, we're gonna be the ones to have to bury you. Whatever, you just deal with it. Just deal with it. Just deal with it. Just deal with it." And even in communication directly with my mom, I would tell her, mom, because she would ask, like, why don't you tell me about your shows? And why don't you tell me about this, that, and the next? And it's like, well, mom, you make me very anxious when well, I ain't gonna change. And her thing was this: you shouldn't, you like, if family is who they are, right? And if you don't like it, you still got to deal with it, because there's going to be people on the outside who you're not going to be able to just cut off. They're going to be people at work or school or whatever, and you got to learn how to deal with it. The problem was she never taught me how to deal with it in a healthy manner. All she did was just plot me in front of it and just let me just take all these emotional shots. And now here we are. I'm on cloud don't give a fuck. Like legit. If I couldn't give a fuck if I wanted to. Because if that was the case, I wouldn't be doing this podcast. I would just be shutting the fuck up. I would be scared about that pull up text. I don't give a fuck. I have a right to express how I feel. And, I'm not busting nobody out. Hit dogs, holla. I'm talking about family. My uncle ain't mad because I'm not fucking talking about him. My other cousins who, were aunts and shit, they're not upset because they know I'm not talking about them. So I have a right to express the environment in which I was raised because it was affecting and still kind of does affect the way in which I live now, right? So I'm gonna work a little bit backwards. You know, when I remember a recent holiday where excuse me, my aunt wanted me to come to LA to and I mean when I say LA, I mean from the valley, which is like it could take a cool 45 minutes to an hour to get to LA if it's enough traffic. So, my aunt texted my mom who wasn't even in town for me to come, ask her if she's coming to Thanksgiving. Now at the time I'm living with my ex-boyfriend. Me and my boyfriend at the time we were living together. He cooked this big ass Thanksgiving meal and he had invited his family from Riverside. He said to me, I really don't think they're gonna come, but I'm gonna just cook just in case. They fucking showed up, all of them, in a caravan, all of them. And we just had a great old time. Now, because I had told my mom prior that, we were probably, I'll probably go out there at some point because me and my ex, we're cooking or he's cooking, but we don't think that his family's gonna come, so we'll probably go out there. She's like, okay, cool. I'll tell your auntie that you're gonna come, right? Now, at some point during the time that I'm eating with, my ex's family and we playing heads up and we drinking sangria, at some point during that time, I'm getting text after text after text after call. Have you left yet? Are you on your way? Mind you, my mother is in North Carolina or Atlanta. She out of town trying to control shit, right? And I'm like, nah, I had a little bit too much to drink and it's gonna take an hour. Then I remember, I don't remember like exactly what she said, but I remember I got text one of three, text two of three, and text three of three of how disrespectful I was for not going over there and how much it hurt my auntie feelings that I wasn't going out there. And all I'm thinking is, I'm drunk. What do you want me to do? And it was like she just wanted to keep saying shit, and you could have said something, and that's still your family, and da 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 da. And I'm like, okay, whatever. At some point during that night, we all go to, not all of us, but me and my ex, we go to another comics house who lives about 5 minutes away, and we have a game. They had a game night over there, and this picture booth. So we take a picture, and she takes the person whose house we went over. She had everybody take a picture. If you came in the house, you took a picture. The picture I took with her was bomb. I looked it cute, so I posted it. I get a long text, another one. I just want to let you know that your auntie's feelings were really hurt. She basically said, must be nice that she's enjoying Thanksgiving with other people. Like it's illegal, literally. Like it's illegal for me to have a holiday away from y'all. But in real life, I never wanted to be around y'all. Like so it was only natural for it to be slowly but surely a situation where I just am not gonna show up anymore. They're all I sound so like negative or I sound so judgmental, but I'm not lying. It's always a fight. I mean, literally, it's always somebody crying. Why would I want to potentially be in a situation like that, right? Family or not. So, that was that. So I felt some type of way about around the holidays. Now I'm cool. Um, let me see. I kind of got sidetracked by that last story, but um, I do want to say this. There were good times with my family, but bet my bottom dollar, the bad outweighed the good for sure. For sure, for sure. There were good times, but they were infrequent. Um, like I said, I never was taught how to deal with people who cause me angst. So now I'm at the point where the way I deal with it is if you cause me angst and in a conversation is not going to fix it, you don't get to talk to me anymore. Now I'm sure that there's a healthier way to deal with that, but I don't know it. And this fucking way, it's I'm happy. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life at this point. Um, I know that this cutoff culture is, it's really aggressive, but I'm not promoting just cut off somebody if they upset you. What I'm saying is if they're unable to have a conversation, a respectful conversation about how you feel, then, stop talking to them. It don't matter who they are. Um, it's it's so much more power in a decision than going back and forth yelling will ever be. A deciding not to talk to somebody is way heavier than "Ah, rah, 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 rah," back and forth, right? So I think about how I am, and how I taught myself, I'm sorry, how I thought of myself as an adult. I'm reading notes. How I thought of myself as an adult, and I honestly hated myself. My inner thoughts were always negative, always discouraging. But after I stopped messing with my family like that, I realized that my inner voice was that of my mom and my aunts. Constantly, like, that was stupid. You stupid. It's just gonna be stupid, stupid, stupid. That was their favorite word. And I'm not making that up. Everything was stupid, stupid, stupid. That's stupid. Well, that sounds stupid. Oh, well, you stupid. That's stupid, right? And I don't mean like in a funny way, like she is so stupid. No, I mean like that's stupid. You're stupid like that. Um, and even after I stopped talking to them, I realized that I needed to retrain my mind to not think like that, to think opposite of that. And I had to surround myself with other people who combated that. So everybody who's in my life now, my new family, nothing but encouraging thoughts. Oh no, you can do it. I was nervous about doing this podcast today. My new aunt, she was like, you got this. You can do it. You strong. You got this. Be the voice of the unheard. And I was like, I like that. Like that's what kind of propelled me to like come and do it for sure, because there are too many people who are in a similar situation as mine and they feel unheard, and they might not ever have the opportunity to express themselves like this. I had somebody DM me not too long ago, and she said, my mom just texted me and told me that this is a grown woman with a husband and kids. She said, my mom just texted me and said that I was disrespectful for reposting what you reposted about family boundaries. And she sent me, a long, long text about how I'm selfish and I always choose my friends over her, and it just makes me sick to my stomach. And now I'm sitting up here crying. It was around Thanksgiving. She was like, I had a really good Thanksgiving, and now I'm over here crying. And I said, can I post this? Because somebody said I was stupid for posting the shit that I was posting. So can I post this? I'm gonna black your name out and all that. She was like, no, because I have family and friends who also follow you, and I don't want them to, judge me. And I'm just like, this is who this is for. This podcast is for the hundreds of thousands or whatever people who feel like they can't express themselves for whatever reason because they don't want to be judged or they don't want to get quote unquote in trouble by a parent and they're grown. You know, it's unfortunate, but it's real. So I feel like you know, I feel like there's times where I'll think about some shit that I suppressed, and it sucks because I have to like be angry at it and forgive all at the same time. It feels like, because and ain't no point in me being angry about it. It's nothing I can do about it. But what I can do is go, you know what, that happened. I didn't like it, and move on and let it not affect my future, how I am in the future. For example, I remember my cousin sent me a video of this this female internet comic. She's very very funny, and at the time I was doing the internet comic thing, and I still do from time to time. But this girl had just gotten booked to be in a Tyler Perry movie, and I remember when my cousin sent me the video, I laughed. She's funny. She deserved it, all that other good stuff. But if I'm being real, and I was being real, I told her that I was jealous. I said, low key, I said, she funny, but I'm jealous, like I work hard and I want to get booked for a movie and all this other stuff. And I'm grateful that she's funny. Not I'm grateful, but I'm happy that she's funny because she does deserve this or whatever. Either way, she got it and I don't. But I felt like bad. And I told her, I said, I feel like jealous. Like, damn, I want to get booked for something. My cousin, that's stupid. Why would you feel jealous? You're doing your thing. She's doing hers. That's stupid. Jealous, like, for you to be jealous is stupid. And I'm just like, this is why I don't fucking talk to y'all. Like, it's a human feeling. I'm not jealous to the point of, like where I'm talking shit. I'm saying she deserves it, but I'm also saying, damn, like, I feel like, fuck, when is my ship gonna come in or whatever? It was a very honest feeling. And that's what I mean by I feel like I couldn't be open and honest about how I feel because it was gonna be met with whatever, whatever negative response. Um, so then in turn, because of things like that, I never felt confident telling somebody how I felt because I felt like it was gonna be stupid, or it was gonna looked at as stupid, or it was gonna be looked at as selfish or just bad. I just always kept how I felt bottled up because any other experience with family where I expressed how I felt, it was met with nothing but negativity, right? So let me think. Now it's the holidays. And for the first time, I love the holidays. Well, it started last year, but I love the holidays. But despite all the shit that they talk, whatever, whatever, I love the holidays. I used to make me feel sad that when I saw a tree or when I saw like families getting together going shopping because I didn't have that. When I would see like people on social media with their families with their pajamas and their onesies taking pictures, I'm like, fuck, I don't have that. Now I'm at the point where I'm gonna have to create that shit, create my own traditions. I'm not sad anymore. I'm grateful to just, be alive and be healthy and be happy to enough to be able to celebrate whatever way I want to, whether I'm not doing shit or whether I'm kicking it, house hopping, or whether I have a show or whatever. I'm just a happy person because I'm finally free to be myself without any type of judgment. Um, I feel like I already talked about this particular thing. Please excuse me. I've never been this forthcoming about my experiences with my family and all that other stuff, but I um I never got to express myself growing up, but now I'm grown and I understand that I have the right to express myself in real shit. If anybody has a problem with it, that's low key their problem. And I say this with all the confidence in the world because the majority of my life, my feelings were laughed at and ignored. Nobody cared then. So those same people don't get to suddenly care about what the fuck I'm talking about now, right? I was thrust into the position of not giving a fuck. And bear in mind, I didn't have these feelings out of nowhere. They were suppressed for 30 years. Now I chose to suppress them and now I'm choosing to stop. Um, this is the manner in which I deal with things now. I respectfully express my feelings, and you know, if they're met with respectful responses, then we can move forward. But if not, then we don't. It's very simple, and I'm very proud of myself, and I love myself for being able to do this. This is like a very serious situation. There are too many people who are suicidal. I was suicidal at one point, so I don't care what other people have to say or think about me talking about quote unquote family business when I could have killed myself. This is a real story. And my ex can vouch. When me and my ex were living together, I told him I was like suicidal. I had been praying and reading the Bible and reading devotionals, but I was still like, I don't know how to enjoy my life. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know how to be here, blah, 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 blah. He didn't know what the fuck to do, so he calls my mom. My mom came over, and I'll never forget this. She says, well, that God didn't give you that spirit, and, you need to pray and you need to fast and you need to seek his face. And I'm like, Mom, I'm praying. I'm reading the Bible. I'm reading devotionals like they my horoscope. I'm listening to these, TD Jakes and Sarah Jakes sermons over and over and over. And I'm still feeling how I'm feeling. I can't pray one more time. I can't read one more word. I need help. She goes, well, if you're not going to pray, then you just screwed. And then she laughed and looked at my ex. And he looking with eyes is huge because and he apologized. He was like, I literally regret asking your mom to come over here, but I didn't know what else to do. And I said, I understand, but the one good thing that happened is after that day, or after my mom left, I felt like God said, good. Now, because I was like, fuck church, fuck the Bible, I'm not reading no more, I'm not praying no more, I'm done. And I felt like God said, good, now you can live. Because I'm not like, I feel like God said, you think I'm like your mom, and I'm not. I'm not judging you. I'm not, saying, like, as far as like judging every little thing that I'm doing, I'm not like a supervisor walking behind you with a clipboard, just ticking off every bad thing that you're doing or saying what you could have done better or, saying this is the reason why you're not blessed because you're not good enough or you don't deserve it. No, now you can live. And my relationship with God is great because I'm not thinking about him as somebody like a authority, so to speak, figure that's out to get me or out to figure out things that are wrong or manipulate me into doing whatever they want to do, right? So I'm feeling like this is gonna have to be a part two, because there's other things that I want to talk about just as far as like me not being able to express how I felt as a kid. Maybe I can wrap it up in like the last 10 minutes, but this is something that a lot of like people my age or my peers let's say your mom says that you could have something, but then she changed her mind and now you're disappointed. It was a fix your face, right? Don't be, embarrassed of me. Fix your face, smile, da 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 da. So now, as a grown woman, I never got a chance to be able to learn how to healthily express anger. I do feel anger. I'm incredibly angry at my family, but like I choose to just ignore it and live my life. I have to like forgive, and as I even in the same moment that I'm angry, I have to forgive them because there's nothing either one of us can do to fix the situation, right? It just is what it is, and I choose to focus on things that I enjoy and focus on things that make me feel better. But there's still things that I never learned, that now here I am, 33, learning how to properly and healthy, in a healthy manner, express negative emotions, because they're going to come. And I can't just shut up, or, like shut the fuck up, or, ain't nothing wrong, pretend like something's wrong when something's wrong. You know what I mean? I'm asking, you know what I mean? Like me on the phone. So, you know, uh, I just want to leave you guys with this. Hopefully, I can wrap this up in enough time, with these like positive things that I learned during the time that, from last year to now. I'm sorry. Your purpose on this earth is not to make your parents happy or proud. That's their job. Family does not have to be a priority if it costs your peace, if it costs you your peace. And when I say family, I don't mean your husband or your wife and your kids. I mean like, you know, other family. Um, if your family doesn't yell at their bosses at work, that means that they know how to communicate without yelling, and you deserve that same respect. Removing yourself from a toxic situation is not disrespect. Creating boundaries for yourself is not disrespect. You're not disrespectful if you don't look up to your parents or you choose a different path than they choose. You don't have to yell or threaten to beat somebody's ass to get your point across. Your family's happiness is not your responsibility, and you deserve to be happy. That is your only responsibility. You're not selfish for protecting your mental health. Your parents may not have equipped you to do so, and that's okay. You're grown now. It's your responsibility to fix yourself. You can't heal in the same environment that you got sick. I've seen that on Instagram. And you're gonna need support. That is why I'm thankful for my aunt. I'm sorry, my aunts that are in my life, my uncle, anybody who's in my life that's, mentored me, especially during this time, that's looked out for me. I really appreciate them more than they know. And I'm just gonna read this. When I look back, it seemed like my mom didn't really like me. Yes, love, but not like. And uh, who wants to be around somebody like that? Um, Personality wise, we really don't have that much in common. And if we weren't related, I don't think any of us will be friends, and that's okay. But um, I feel like she wanted me to be like her, and that was never going to happen. And it makes me think about the type of mother that I want to be. I don't want to be offended if my kid doesn't want to go, down the line of show business, or if they want to do something else with their lives. I just care if they're happy, because I was happy as a kid, but when I look back, I'm like, not really. It was like I was struggling like to hang on to happiness. And I know my mother loves me, and I know that a lot of the negative whatever came from a place of fear, but it didn't make me want to share anything with her. I mean, literally, I would tell her, like, I remember one day I wanted to go to Africa, and I was like, I'm going. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I am going. And I said, Mom, I'm going to Africa. When? I said, no, Mom, I'm just saying I want to go. No, no, you don't need to go to Africa. It was like that. You don't need a mentality. When I was a kid, can I have a Kit Kat? You don't need a Kit Kat. Well, who the fuck ever needs a Kit Kat? But I grew up with this mentality. Me and my mom don't speak, yet I went on vacation, my very first vacation as an adult, and I'm in a hat store with my friend, and I picked up this hat, and my friend was like, are you going to get it? And I was like, I don't need no hat. And I was like, oh shit. It's still like in my mind. Let me just buy this fucking hat because I'm on vacation. It's okay to, like show myself some love, or, whatever. It's okay to do stuff if even if it's like there are negative aspects about it. Like it's okay to live. Shit. Um I I feel like older parents, if you have grown children that want to have a conversation about the way they were raised, I highly suggest that you listen. If you care about retaining the relationship with your adult child, you should be empathetic about their very real feelings. There's nothing you can do to change the past. However, you can apologize and figure out a way to move forward together. Apologizing to your kid, excuse me, if you don't do so, I feel like there's an ego thing behind that. Nobody is going to do this family or parent thing right, but you can do it respectfully. You know what I mean? There's gonna be mistakes made. There's gonna be things that we wish we could have done different, and that's okay. But you have to acknowledge their feelings. My feelings were never acknowledged, and that's why I'm in this situation that I'm in now. You can't continue to dismiss, and disrespect your kids, whether they're young or old. We live in a new era of adults that will cut you off if you continue to dismiss and disrespect them. We can't keep. We live in very different times where we don't have to do the same shit that you guys did in your day. We're not passing that shit on to our kids. It's not healthy. We're just not passing it down to our kids or our grandkids. Our grandkids. I love my family, but I'm perfectly fine not speaking to them again. I know they may be mad at me for this, but it's better than me being mad at me for not doing this. I'm gonna continue to talk my shit, and I feel like by definition, they had me fucked up, and that's okay. I pray that they continue to live their lives and get, the best out of whatever it is that they want to do. And I'm going to do the same. I know that it's probably difficult because they've always had a sense of entitlement or control over me and they don't have it anymore, but there's still love there, you know? It's just from a distance, and everything is going to be okay. That's the end of it. I think I got everything out. Are we good on time? I think I got everything out. There's gonna be I'm gonna start off with doing four, and then depending on how they go, I will come back and do some more. But the next few episodes will be much lighter. I just really needed to get this out because too many people are expressing the same feelings, but they're not in a place to express that they're in the same place. And I just need you to know that you're loved, you deserve to be happy, and you deserve to be respected above all. I love you guys, and tune in next week for the next episode of I'm Grown Now What. Have a good one.